So let's start this video by answering this question: what is a development environment? A development environment is simply the collection of tools and software we use to write, test, and run our code. Sometimes it's called a code editor. Some code editors have great features that we'll use throughout this course. Some editors even offer more features than we actually need. And that's when we start calling them IDEs, or Integrated Development Environments. In this course, our choice is going to be VS Code. VS Code is free and open source, developed by Microsoft. It's good to hear about other code editors or IDEs. Well, WebStorm is one of those powerful IDEs, which is a paid software from JetBrains. Another example is Sublime Text. So you can install Sublime Text if you want to follow along this course. But before going inside the installation process, let's just answer this question about the why. Why do we need these IDEs or code editors? Technically, we can write code even in a basic text editor. So we don't strictly need an IDE, but these tools make our lives much easier. They offer a lot of features that improve productivity and help us write code faster and with fewer errors. And of course, we're going to install and use VS Code, which stands for Visual Studio Code. And as I mentioned before, it's free and open source from Microsoft. It's very powerful, comes with tons of features, and can be turned into a full IDE with extensions, which we'll install together. Well, to install VS Code, you can head over to code.visualstudio.com/download, or just search VS Code download on Google and download and install the right version for your operating system. Since I'm on a Mac, I'll install the Mac version. And the installation process is simple. On Mac, just drag and drop it inside the applications folder, just like this. And on the Windows and Linux, just run the installer file. And also note that I'm using Chrome browser, and I recommend using it because in this course, we're going to follow the DevTools and all the features that Chrome provides for us. So this is what VS Code interface looks like. On the right sidebar, you'll see an AI tab. If you're logged in with your GitHub account, you can use GitHub Copilot. If you don't know what GitHub is, don't worry. For now, just close the sidebar and ignore it. We have this editor view, which is the main view, and anytime you open a file or tab, it appears here. This section can have many tabs. Right now, what you see is the welcome page. Every time you open VS Code, this page appears, but you can uncheck the checkbox down here, and it doesn't show next time. I'm going to close this tab. At the top, we have this command center. You can search for files or run actions inside VS Code. Basically, anything you can do through the UI, you can also do it here with these commands. This part is a bit advanced, but we'll explore it gradually as the course progresses. And let's go to this left sidebar. On the left side with several icons. Explorer. This icon is about Explorer. It shows the files and folder structure. Then we have the search icon, which shows the search across files and even replace text across multiple files. This tab is super useful. Then we have source control tab used with Git and GitHub. We won't touch this tab in this course, but I'll cover in my Git and GitHub course. Then we have this run and debug, mostly for languages like JavaScript and other programming languages. For HTML and CSS, we won't use this tab. We rely on browser's DevTools instead, and we're going to explore the DevTools in a bit. And then we have extensions. Here you can install themes, icons, and features. You can add support for other programming languages and enhance VS Code functionality. And basically, you can extend the VS Code ability with these extensions. So now that we are in this tab, let's go ahead and search for Live Server here. So Live Server is an extension that allows us to serve and run our HTML files in the browser. So just click install, and once you install it, you see this new Go Live button at the bottom of VS Code. This extension adds real-time preview capabilities. The next extension that we're going to search for is Prettier. Prettier is a code formatter. We'll explore what it does later, but go ahead and install it for now. It will help us with consistent formatting. I'm just following the same steps to install this extension. Now let's clear this input and we can see these two extensions being installed. Alright, so let's switch to the Explorer tab and then open a folder to organize our files. Click on Open Folder here and create a new folder for this course. I would call mine HTML CSS Reza coding. Once you open the folder, you'll no longer see the welcome page. The Explorer view now shows the folder and its content. Since it's empty, nothing is listed here. Let's go ahead and create our first HTML file. Let's name it index.html. And notice the .html extension at the end of the file. We use this extension for all HTML file. Now, inside this newly created HTML file, just type an exclamation mark and you will see two suggestions pop up. This is a code snippet. As you type, VS Code suggests code, making your work faster and easier. Just hit enter and bam, it will generate a basic HTML template for us. This is another IDE feature that saves time. So we will explore this HTML structure line by line in the next videos, but for now, inside this body, just type an H1 and press enter. VS Code will automatically create both the opening and the closing tags, with the cursor being in between. And all we have to do now, just type hello world, and you'll see a white dot on the tab. That just means we have unsaved changes. All we have to do now is just save the file, and now you can see the dot is disappeared. Now it's time to use the live server extension. Click on the Go Live button and it will automatically open the browser with the proper port on your machine. And with this, congratulations, you have just created and launched your first HTML file. Any changes you make and save will automatically show in the browser. And that's the beauty of live server. For example, here I add this 1 and 2 after hello world and I save it. Inside the browser, you can see it showed up here. Now, you can also see that 1 and 2 here. So that's why it's called live server. Everything you change, it automatically restarts the server. And by the way, if you don't know what is a server, don't worry about it. The next video is all about the client and server architecture and how the web works. The last topic that we're going to cover in this video is about DevTools, the browser DevTools. You can head over to any website you want, right-click on the website, and click on View Page Source. You will see the raw HTML, and it's very similar to what we just wrote. All the websites on the internet are built using HTML. They all have the same structure. The source code that we can see here is really bad. You can see it's nested and it's closed. It's not really readable. So another great way to inspect the whole web is using developer tools on the browser. To see the DevTools, right-click on any page and choose Inspect. This opens the DevTools panel. Depending on your browser or your preferences, this DevTools might open in the right, bottom, or left side. You can easily change that if you want. So right now we're in the Elements tab, which shows the HTML structure of the page. When you hover over elements in the HTML, the browser highlights them on the page. This is incredibly useful. You can also see a Styles tab, which shows the CSS for each selected element. It's really useful. So here we have the selector icon. If you select that and then hover over any elements on the web page, for example, in this case, I'm going to hover over this title, and if you click, it will highlight both elements and its code. Beautiful. So now you can see how the code is translated inside the web, and you can see how HTML is the structure of the web. So let's edit the elements text. For example, let's just add a 1 to the title and press enter. You can see the change appears immediately on the page. And this is live editing. So it clearly shows how HTML represents the web. Earlier, we talked about the Styles tab. You can see whenever we select and activate any elements in the HTML, it also shows the respective styles for it. So all these styles are related to CSS, and we're going to cover it in our next module in this course, which is all about CSS. Now let's change the CSS. Now that we have selected this title, let's add a color red style to it. You can see it turns red immediately. And this is exactly the beauty of CSS. We can style it. Remember that this is not permanent. If you reload the page, everything goes back to its starting point. DevTools changes are local. They're not saved on the server. And by the way, there are other useful tabs here as well. For example, we have console for JavaScript debugging. We have source to see the source code of any website. We also have network to inspect the network request, which we cover in the next video. Other tabs are beyond the scope of this course, but if you take my JavaScript or React courses, we'll explore them in depth. All right, so we just explored the section, setting up our development environment. As always, you can refer back to this website for the summary and for notes. In the next video, let's explore what is a server and how the web works. So thanks for watching. In the next video, we'll dive into how the web works and we're going to explore the client-server architecture.